Casey's biggest hits.
7 years ago this week, back in 1989, one of the biggest hits in the USA was Good Thing, a song that wasn't just a smash, it also led to an acting career for the man who sang it. I'll have details and that big hit after this. Now, on with the countdown.
Number 38.
Here's the first top 40 hit for an English group that took its name from a 1960 American film called All the Fine Young Cannibals. From London, here's Fine Young Cannibals with their debut song, She Drives Me Crazy.
I can't stop. American Top 40.
It's another high-octane rocket ride to the top of the Billboard chart. I'm Shadoe Stevens, and here's the first top 40 hit by the English band Fine Young Cannibals, who say they never know how a song's going to turn out. Guitarist Andy Cox told writer Ernest Hardy, quote, "We go for the garden approach. We just like things to grow. We go and we pick them in the autumn." Well, here's a song that's ripening nicely. Up 9 notches to number 21. She Drives Me Crazy.
The way I feel. The shadow.
I'm Shadoe Stevens. This is American Top 40, and now the band who searched the world for a singer only to find him in their own backyard. The story begins 5 years ago with the breakup of a popular English band called the English Beat. Two of the members, guitarist Andy Cox and bass player David Steele, decided to form a new band. Andy and David had written a lot of the Beat's music, but they needed a singer who could write lyrics, and they didn't want just any singer. Andy wanted a soul man like his heroes James Brown and Screamin' Jay Hawkins. David wanted someone with a range that could cover anything from Billie Holiday to Al Green to even country singer George Jones. So the search was on. They came to America to look. They went to MTV and actually advertised for a singer. There was a flood of demo tapes. Andy and David listened to more than 300 of them, but none of the singers were right. So they went back home to London feeling frustrated. And then one night, they were watching British TV and saw a singer whose looks reminded them of someone else. They remembered a band called the Acrylics, who opened shows for the English Beat back in 1978, and the singer had been terrific. Suddenly, Andy and Dave frantically searched desks and dresser drawers for old address books, scraps of paper, anything that would lead them to that singer. They made a lot of phone calls and finally tracked him down. They went up to North London, to Finsbury Park, and walked into a pub, and there in a corner stage area was the man they wanted, Roland Gift. He had no idea that anybody had been looking for him. Together, Andy Cox, David Steele, and Roland Gift have already had hits in Britain and in the American underground club scene as Fine Young Cannibals. Now they've made the top 40. At number 14, here's Fine Young Cannibals, and She Drives Me Crazy.
CT40 with Casey Kasem.
We're counting down the 40 biggest hits in the USA. Well, now we're up to one of 7 artists in our survey who also have successful careers as actors. There's Madonna, Cynthia Rhodes from Animotion, Michael Damian, Bette Midler, Cher, Corey Glover from Living Colour, and Roland Gift, lead singer of the English band Fine Young Cannibals. When Roland's not working with his group, he can usually be found working on a London stage or a movie set. As we mentioned a few weeks ago, he was one of the salesmen in the hit movie Tin Men, and he makes a powerful appearance in the film Scandal, a movie about the 1963 Profumo affair that rocked the British government. But that's only the beginning for this young up-and-comer. He turned down an ongoing role in Miami Vice, and he's recently been offered parts in new movies made with Jack Nicholson and Arnold Schwarzenegger. But Roland says that he's very picky about the roles he selects. He told us, quote, "Money shouldn't be a motive. Fortunately, rock gives me enough money so I can look at scripts objectively. And I can choose parts because they're good, not because I have to." Now, here's actor Roland Gift working hard at his other job as a singer with Fine Young Cannibals. Their recent #1 smash falls 8 notches to 26 this week. Here's She Drives Me Crazy.
She drives me crazy, like no one else. Casey's biggest hit.
7 years ago this week, back in 1989, one of the biggest hits in the USA was a song that wasn't just a smash, it also led to an acting career for the man who sang it. The song was written by the trio Fine Young Cannibals for the soundtrack of the Richard Dreyfuss-Danny DeVito movie Tin Men. The film's director, Barry Levinson, liked the group's look so much, he cast them as a club band in the movie. And that appearance in what turned into a hit film led to a string of movies for Fine Young Cannibals lead singer Roland Gift, including a big role in the British movie Scandal. And it all began with a song that was one of the biggest hits in the USA 7 years ago this week, Good Thing.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem. Well, after 7 years of silence, the Fine Young Cannibals have a greatest hits album, and their record company is letting the world in on a well-kept secret. The last time we heard from the Fine Young Cannibals on our survey was back in 1989. That's when Roland Gift, David Steele, and Andy Cox hit number 1 first with She Drives Me Crazy, and then with Good Thing. They followed that up with a top 40 hit called Don't Look Back. And since then, nothing has been heard from them at all. But that didn't surprise fans of the Fine Young Cannibals. The group had spent 3 years between their first and second album, so it didn't seem unusual for them to spend a lot of time working on their third album. Except now that their latest album is out, the story turns out to be a lot more complicated. It seems that this volatile threesome went into the studio to work on a new album back in 1991. But after a few months, the tension was so high between the three members that they just called it quits. The Fine Young Cannibals were history. Only they didn't tell anyone. But now the secret's out. After 5 years, the record company is releasing a greatest hits collection titled The Finest, and on it are 3 songs from that abandoned recording session back in 1991, which means the Fine Young Cannibals are back, if only on CD. And that's our update on the elusive trio called the Fine Young Cannibals. Now, on with the countdown.
Casey counts them down.
We keep on climbing till they've all been counted. Now, we're up to an American Top 20 extra by Fine Young Cannibals, one of whom loves to wear second-hand clothing, because second-hand clothing is his family business. Roland Gift grew up in the north of England where his mother owned a chain of thrift stores. Roland says, quote, "We never bought new clothing. When we needed something, we'd rummage through the bins. It may have been used clothing, but some of it was very handsome. It became a habit Roland couldn't shake. At the height of his career with Fine Young Cannibals, he chose his wardrobe from the thrift store, and to this day he still prefers second-hand clothes. Quote, "It's in my blood. Buying new clothing seems wrong when there's so much interesting stuff passing through her stores." Now, with an extra, here are Fine Young Cannibals with a first-hand hit from 1989, She Drives Me Crazy.
She drives me crazy, and I can't help myself.